In this episode of the Strategies to Stop Overeating series, I'm covering a strategy that sounds so deceptively simple, but it's absolutely critical if you're serious about getting off the overeating hamster wheel. Today, I'm going to cover creating a recipe for lasting success. Now, I've helped women all over the world create peace with food and freedom from overeating, and I cannot tell you the smart high achievers who were stumped by the question, so what do you want your eating to look like after you've succeeded? After you've lost the weight, or after you've stopped the binges, or after you've stopped craving sugar and feeling out of control with it before you go to bed at night, how do you see your eating looking? How do you want to eat for the rest of your life? This is such a vitally important question to have in the back of your mind, even if you don't know the answer yet. You need to be creating a recipe for lasting success. You're going to have a relationship with food for the rest of your life. You're going to want a recipe for lasting success that is one that you want to keep creating. Too many times people get so focused on a short-term goal with their eating, and they focus on that thing by depriving themselves, by creating plans that require a lot of restriction, that take a lot of willpower and a high level of motivation and energy to keep it going. That's part of what creates these yo-yo cycles for so many people. We create plans that are unsustainable. They don't fit with our preferences, they don't fit with our life, they don't fit with our habits. And so I want you to ask yourself about that plan that you're on right now, or that you're telling yourself that you think you should be on. I want you to close your eyes and ask yourself, is this something I am going to want to be doing 10 years from now? Now, if the answer is no, that may be okay. Sometimes we make sacrifices in the short term in order to get things going or to get some momentum in front of us. But if this is not the plan that you want to be on 10 years from now, I want you to ask yourself whether you have an idea of what the transition from where you are now to where you want to be, what that transition looks like. What is the long-term picture of success for you? What is the relationship with food that you're aiming for? I'll tell you that a lot of women, when they look at this question seriously, they see that what they're aiming for is constant perfection and standards that they really can't picture themselves maintaining, or standards that when they really think about it, it sounds really unpleasant and difficult and hard and not the kind of life they want to have to be maintaining these things. If this is true for you, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a barrier that is going to block you from achieving long-term, ongoing, easy success. So what should you do if you realize that you don't currently have a recipe for long-term success? Number one, I want you to start rebuilding your attitude. I want you to start taking seriously the fact that your relationship with food is lifelong, and I want you to give some thought to what you'd like that relationship to look like. Now, if you don't know, that's okay, but start to take a look at what the things are that you're confused about. What are the questions that you have? What are the blocks that you come up against when you try to think about a way of eating that is going to achieve your goals and be sustainable and enjoyable forever? Number two, and you'll see this come up a lot in this series, you already have, I want to encourage you to never stop learning. Your eating and your relationship with food is going to grow and change and adapt to your lifestyle and your preferences. So pay attention. Notice what's working and what isn't working, and don't be afraid to tweak things or adjust things to fit you better. Notice your preferences. If something is wearing on you, you're really not liking it, it's important to ask yourself, does this need to be a part of my plan? Do I need to be eating boneless, skinless chicken breasts? Or is there a way to spice it up? Is there a way to add some variety? Could I do it differently to fit me better? And if it's not something that you can do differently, is there a way that I can incentivize myself or increase my motivation to keep doing this thing that is somewhat challenging for me? Can I add some rewards? Can I add a social component to this? Can I add some accountability? What is going to help me continue to move forward and to feel inspired to stay with this plan? And number three, I want you to be careful about some very specific pitfalls. Be very careful about perfectionism. Any plan that requires you to always get it perfect, always be on track, always do anything, is more than a little iffy. Perfectionism is not sustainable and often not attainable, and always feeling like you have to aim for something that you can't hit can be a recipe for burnout. So take a look at what your expectations are and make sure they're realistic for your life. The other pitfall I want you to be aware of is the pitfall of relying on plans that expect a lot of deprivation or sacrifice or willpower or self-discipline. These things are something that we can rely on in the short term, but they're not something that we have an endless supply of. We run out of willpower, we run out of motivation, we run out of self-discipline. And the situations that tend to be most wearing on those things like stress and busy lives and a lot of responsibilities, those actually are the situations where sometimes we are most triggered to overeat. So if you have a plan that requires you to always be on and always feel motivated and always feel ready to do the hard thing, it's not likely to be a recipe for long-term success. Instead of those things, or in addition to those things, I want you to think about ways that you can replace the power that food has in your life. What are ways that you can take care of your needs and feelings that have nothing to do with food? You want to start building those strategies as we've been talking about in this series. What are ways that you can reward yourself and celebrate that don't involve food? Again, these are strategies that you want to build. It's part of your recipe for long-term success. And how can you be tuned in and paying attention to what you need so that you're not using automatic eating, mindless eating to fill in gaps and needs that you aren't even aware of? Again, we're covering lots of these strategies in this series, and they're all a part of creating an approach that's going to fit you for the long term. The key piece to start with right now is developing an attitude that's big picture, an attitude that takes into account where you want to be and what you want to be doing 10 years from now. Keep building toward what's going to work for the long term and focus less on short-term perfectionism. That's the path to creating peace with food and freedom from overeating. If you want more resources for tackling overeating and emotional eating, then be sure to subscribe to this channel and be sure to go to toomuchonherplate.com and take your free Hidden Hungers quiz. It is the first step for getting off the roller coaster and tackling overeating.